What's going on, everyone? Let's go for a drive and let's talk about Bitcoin and money and finance and just what's going on. Let's go. I hope you guys like this new format. I'm trying it out, if I'm being honest, because it works for my schedule. And I don't want to leave you guys hanging. I don't want to not record. So I figure, well, let's record when I can, which is in the car. So here we are, talking about Bitcoin. But really, I want to recap, or basically do a part 2 to the video that I just did, talking about not Bitcoin. If you watched it, you'll notice I didn't say a thing about Bitcoin, totally on purpose. And there's a few reasons for that. One, because I've been feeling this burden to give not financial advice, but just to pass some information on financial tips, I guess, because I was going through it, and now I feel like my family, my wife and I have come through what a lot of people are going through right now. And yes, like, this is a terrible time to be going through it. The macroeconomics are terrible. They're just terrible right now. So I'm not trying to say like I know exactly what everybody's experiencing, not at all. But if you listen to my last video, you'll understand that I do know what it's like to have your life kind of turned upside down because of money. But a big part of the last video, I didn't even talk about money. I talked about the value of life, and I talked about like how you need to find value in God, and like you need to know Jesus loves you, which I bet that might have thrown some of you for a spin. But I brought that up because sometimes when it gets so stressful that we can't afford things and whatnot, that we make life about money. Except, what's the whole point of money? Well, the whole point of having money is so that you can live. So if you're living for money, you're living for money for living for money for living for money. You're in this nasty death loop. You're this death spiral that leads to just emptiness. You just feel dissatisfied and unhappy. And I don't want that for you. I want you guys to be happy. I don't just mean superficially. I mean, I want you to set goals and achieve them. And for so many people right now, I guess the goals that they have is just, I just want to not feel stressed. I just want to relax. I just want to take a break. And those feelings are totally valid. Totally valid. I'm going to say that you got to take it one day at a time, right? Which means, like, yeah, take a break. Seriously. But maybe you just need to take a break, like, today. Like, during the day. Take a break. Like, intentionally say, you know what? I'm going to take the next 20 minutes to simply breathe, right? Like, maybe you just need to do that. And then maybe you need to say, you know what? I'm going to take a day off from work in 2 weeks. You know? Or maybe you're already there mentally. You're like, I need to take a day off. I haven't taken a day off in over a month or 2 months. You know, go ahead. Go ahead. Take your day off. Do what you got to do. Because ultimately, the point of working and making money is not to work yourself to death. That's not what the point is. But these days, that's what people who are running companies and stuff, that's how they're kind of treating their workers, as if that's all they exist for, is to work. This is why I love Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is a way for you to counter the inflation of the system that we're in, so that eventually you know that your end game is the escape hatch. That way you can keep working, that you can keep pushing forward, because you have something that they can't take away, and it's hope. But remember, Bitcoin is just another form of money. So life's not all about Bitcoin either. So, people are very skeptical and very negative in what they have to say about Bitcoin. And you know what? They can have those opinions, and many of those opinions are perfectly valid, because again, it's just money. It's just money. You're not meant to worship money. You're not meant to even live for money. If you're only living to gather up heaps and piles of money, as the Bible says, someday you're going to die unexpectedly, and all the wealth that you've amassed is going to go to someone you don't know. Facts. Now, obviously, there's ways that you can set up your estate so that doesn't happen. But even if it doesn't go to someone that you don't know, maybe it goes to your family members, you can't keep it. You're dead. You're gone. Right? So again, life is so much more important than money, which includes Bitcoin. Life is more important than Bitcoin. And that's why, I wanted to just give some hope to people and remind them that, you are a spiritual being. You need to, actually feed that part of you, or else you're just going to feel depressed and, unalive, right? And I don't want you to feel that way. I don't want you to feel that way. And I don't feel that way, no matter what happens. That's why I told you, you gotta get connected with the light, with God, with Jesus. You just gotta do it. But I also know that you have to be practical with your money, which is why I talk about Bitcoin. But before you even touch Bitcoin, before you even think about investing, you need to get your finances in order. You just need to be organized. You got to get away from this sense of disorder that is swamping your life and is sabotaging your finances. You can't live like that. Maybe most of the stress that you feel with your finances has nothing to do with being poor. I think it has not everything, sorry. It has a lot to do with the disorganization, that you simply don't have your finances in order. You don't even know how much money you have, let alone what you can afford, let alone how much money you make. Although finding out how much you make is a little easier, because we all have bank accounts and stuff. So for the most part, you can just look in your bank account and see, oh, okay, I had this number of paychecks this month, and I can add up those numbers on my handy dandy calculator. There we go. That's how much money I made this month. Spending money, though, that's a little harder. It'd be a lot more work to figure out how much you spend. Well, a lot of your expenditures should be the same month to month, right? You shouldn't be constantly changing up how you spend your money each month. That's probably the first thing you need to tackle, is making sure you're not doing that, right? Month to month, you should be spending roughly the same amount of money. And the way to figure that out, or to hash that out, is you got to make a budget. And for the longest time, I did not have a budget. I did not have anything written down. I didn't see the point. And the reason why I didn't see the point was because I couldn't afford it anyway. Except that was a lie. Because if you build a budget, then you can figure out how to afford what you need. But you'll never figure it out until you create a budget. But I can guarantee there's others of you out there who haven't made a budget because you think you just can't afford things anyway. So you've told yourself, what's the point? But the whole point is so that you can afford things. And I understand if you're in a living situation where you've tried everything and nothing's working. But I addressed this in the last video, which was there's one thing you haven't tried, and it's to radically, completely change your life. And for me and my wife, it was to literally move out of state so that we could move in with family, so that we weren't paying rent or utilities for 3 years. Yeah, you think that'll help your finance? Yeah, you bet it will. Now, I know not everybody has that exact type of resource available. I totally understand that. But that doesn't mean you have no resources available. And I talked about food pantries and stuff or whatever. So I just was trying to give some helpful tips and advice while showing that I totally empathize, I think it's right, with everyone who's feeling terrible. I even mentioned, like, kudos to anyone who's living in their car because they're doing it to save money or because that's all they can afford. No shame. No shame at all. You do what you gotta do. If that's how you're gonna survive, all right then. But here's the thing. If you're doing that, but you don't have a budget, what's the point? What's the point? You might as well go into debt. You don't know how much money you're saving each month. And so you're going to overspend because you don't know how much money you're saving. So, what am I getting at with this video? Well, basically what I'm getting at is you need to have a game plan. Right? Like you have to get your mind out of the depression gutter, for sure. And then you have to acknowledge that you can do something about it. Once you acknowledge that, then just do it. Just do something. And when I say something, I mean make a budget. That's what I would do. Number one thing, make a budget. I'm not saying make a budget that you suddenly have to live by. I'm saying just start figuring your finances out. Start doing the simple math of adding it up and figure out, what have I got going on? If you've already done that, well, if you're still in the red, meaning you can't afford the way you're living, then you got to change the way you're living. And if you're at a point where you can't cheapen the way you're living any further than you already have, then you need to completely change the life that you're living, not just the lifestyle. That's when you need to, like, make a big change, like moving, or like literally just looking for a higher paying job, or taking on a second job or a third job if that is something that is possible for you. Now, I don't recommend the 3-job life. I don't recommend that. I think it's better to do 2 jobs well. But I know people who've worked 3 or more jobs. But again, you don't want to mess with your stress levels. I mean, you got to stay sane. You know what I mean? Now, if you're single, if it's just you, and am I single? I mean not married. Okay? If you're dating, that doesn't count. All right? Now, maybe if you live with each other, I guess that changes things, but let's just assume, financially speaking, you're on your own. One, you gotta look outside of the box. Sorry, I don't mean to say one, because I don't know where I was gonna go after that. I'm just thinking of this as I go, that, like, you have to get out of your head. You have to be willing to live a life that you didn't expect to live. When you do that, you will see new opportunities you didn't see before. So I mean, that's the first thing you got to do, is you got to rescue your finances. And then when you build a budget, include investing in your budget. Make it a monthly item. Treat it like a bill. Treat it as a commitment rather than a gamble. Because if you commit month over month over month, you can stockpile. Whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's ETFs or stocks that pay out dividends. whatever it is, as long as you're adding it up, you're securing a better future for you and your family. And it has to start now. You can't wait. You just can't keep pressing ahead, going further into debt, not dealing with your finances. Now is not the time to sit on your hands. Now is the time for action. Now is the time. Now is the time for you to go right ahead. You are capable. You are powerful. Like you can do this. Man, this highway. You'd think I was on a country road with these bumps. That's my county for you. So I just wanted to give a little follow-up to that other video, just to, one, talk about why I didn't even talk about Bitcoin. Two, talk about this new format. And three, just sum it up and then add a few more tips of just, you know, what you can think about doing, what you can do. I'm gonna keep adding details to what I think is a good process of setting up a budget. I'm gonna doing probably a more detailed video on that, of just purely entertainment purposes only and educational purposes only, not to be construed as financial advice. I am not a financial advisor or expert. That being said, I'm going to speak from my experience, and I'm going to say what I would do if I had to start all over again. Yeah, and eventually, when you get that stuff squared away, then you start stacking Bitcoin. And if you want to stack other things too, you certainly can. Full disclosure, I don't. And people are going to say you are a fool. And you know, I understand that, because you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. I understand that. However, when it comes to how well you understand something, Michael Saylor said it best when someone was calling him out on that. They were trying to say, like, you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket. Like, that's like really, you should diversify. Michael Saylor called that guy out. He said, how many chairs are you sitting on? The guy said, one. He said, are you all in on the chair? Are you all in on that one chair? Are you sure you don't want 2 or 3 or 4 to be sitting on right now? And he just kept going. He's like, because he was on a podcast, he's like, how many microphones do you have going? Only one? Are you all in on that one microphone? And what's the point? The point is, if it works, like if you understand, if you have knowledge of the thing, it's totally fine for you to go all in on it. That's where I'm at with Bitcoin. And I want to help bring more and more people to that understanding of money in general, of cryptocurrency, and of Bitcoin, so that more people can understand, yeah, it's that good. Not good of like, it's a good thing, but it's that needed, it's that wanted, that it has to become, it has to be valued at a higher price. It just has to. The current price, and even when it was at 126,000, no, that does not properly reflect its true value to the market. And the market is still figuring that out. It's just taking a long time. So anyway, I'll leave you guys with that, because I don't want to run out of space on my phone. I got to work on that. Oh, but you guys know the drill. If you got your finances in order and you have it worked into your budget, get out there and stack some sats. Get out there, go get some Bitcoin, because you need to do it right now.